Afterthoughts. In 2002, I was nominated for the Nobel Prize for Literature, a nomination made by William Keach, a Brown University professor of English literature. During that same year, I was also nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize by Philip Gasper, PhD, chairman of the philosophy department at Notre Dame de University. Dr. Gasper and others have repeatedly nominated me every year since then. Being nominated is a high honor, although I certainly do not position myself alongside Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, Desmond Tutu, or Toni Morrison, all Nobel laureates. Each of these individuals rose above racist adversity, opposition, and predetermined outcomes. On the other hand, I have emerged from a microcosm of fallibility, but as no less a human being than those esteemed individuals or any other person. Living under the duress of an impending execution, I daily withstand hostile conditions, limitations, confidential informants, racial stereotyping, and the self-appointed naysayers to achieve the impossible. Throughout California's prison complexes and on death row, I am branded a black boogeyman, the Crip Godfather, and a whipping boy for any kind of prison controversy. Like other black prisoners, I am automatically pitted against institutional racism, whereas black guards, regardless of rank, are defenseless. Odd but true, there are some bene-sided, non-white staff members that act their nominal cohorts with similar or worse mistreatment of prisoners. These non-white guards tend to forget that the racists here view them likewise as ninjas who wear a badge. The exceptions, white and black staff, who do try to treat a prisoner with dignity, are often ridiculed, ostracized, or pressured to change for the worse. Little wonder that television media are barred from bringing cameras into San Quentin to interview prisoners about conditions of incarceration and how they are treated, or, for that matter, about any topic. People who claim racism is non-existent here or anywhere in the United States are in denial, or they live above the poverty radar. Racism is not an excuse, it's an obstructive reality. Under these conditions, it is difficult for any man to overcome the odds, be he Indian, Asian, Mexican, Caucasian, or chiefly. But like others, I dare to resist the institutional harassment which continues to escalate. The emperor has no clothes in the prison environment, his skin is white. In the latest twist of penal aggression, I have been targeted for literary public lynching. On Tuesday, July 1st, 2003, the Los Angeles Times printed an inflammatory front-page article entitled "Crips Target a Prison Lockdown" by Jennifer Warren and Dan Morian. Authorities at Corcoran State Prison have locked 1,300 African-American general population inmates in their cells with limited privileges as they investigate whether incarcerated members of the Crip Street Gang are conspiring to attack prison staffers in retaliation for the anticipated execution of the gang's co-founder. The spurious article goes on to say that correctional officers at Corcoran discovered a so-called kite, a written message sent anonymously to the warden, directing Crips to attack and kill high-ranking prison staff members. The article continues, quoting Corcoran officials, "The anonymous kite may have been sent on behalf of Williams, whose court appeals are winding down. It is unprecedented that an anonymous, false prison kite can justify front-page coverage in a prestigious metropolitan newspaper and trigger the prison lockdown of thousands of prisoners in Corcoran, Pelican Bay, and Salinas Valley Prison." I agree with many of the opinions expressed by those who have sent messages to me at www.tukey.com. They felt the Times article was a pretext hatched by the Attorney General's office, the California Department of Corrections, and others to discredit my youth work, the Nobel Prize nominations, and primarily to influence the Ninth Circuit Court judges to ensure my execution. In fact, Russ Heimerich, a Department of Corrections spokesman in Sacramento, said, "Anytime we have a Crip attack a staff member, we look for the link to Tukey." His words confirm that regardless of my transition, positive youth projects, peace initiatives, and more than a decade of committing not a single disciplinary infraction, I am always to be a suspect. The vindictive objective to destroy me is so irrational that the California Department of Corrections is apparently willing to incite potential prison bedlam under the guise of preventing violence by locking down hundreds of African American prisoners. As a precautionary measure to avoid potential administrative sabotage, it is necessary for me to speak indirectly on the phone about federal appeal strategies, book or youth projects, media interviews, or any other positive activities. There is so much intrigue surrounding me here that I'm overly circumspect and selective about whom I communicate or associate with in any form. Nonetheless, I managed to rise above these malicious attempts to negatively portray me. Anxiety and defeatism are not an option. In 2001, there was talk of a movie project. BRBR negotiated with 20th Century Fox to support a movie based on particular segments of my life entitled Redemption for its Fox cable television channel. Emmy Award-winning Lynn Whitfield was chosen to play the role of Barbara. But when Jamie Foxx was signed to play me, I couldn't help but think that Fox executives weren't taking the project seriously. Most of my peers were scratching their heads saying, "Bro, I don't get it. I can't see Jamie playing you." Only Adisa believed the brother could pull it off. No one doubted Jamie's talent for mimicry. The question was whether he could make a portrayal of me believable. I reasoned that he didn't necessarily have to look like me. I knew it was impossible for him to pack on huge muscles in a short span of time. Would he have to wear padded muscles? I was humbled by the fact that someone was interested in trying to capture the redemptive phases of my life, when many people think I'm irredeemable, incapable of transformation. Several months later, Barbara and I met with the intended writer of the movie. In a few hours, we covered many of the necessary topics. At the conclusion of this meeting, the writer promised I would not be demonized or misrepresented for melodramatic purposes. However, when Barbara and I read the first draft of the script, it was littered with black stereotypes. I had little faith in neither writer or producer or their ability to compose a realistic script. I thought Fox executives might eventually kick them off the project. It was sometime after reading the script that I received a visit from Barbara, who came with film producer Rudy Langlaise and his sidekick, both of whom tried to assure me that the movie would represent me in a redemptive light. Having viewed the rejected scripts, it was difficult for me to believe. I mentioned to Barbara later that all we could do was to pray that these Hollywood characters would not develop acute amnesia about their announced intentions to me. On July 12, 2003, I entered the visiting room to meet Vondie Curtis Hall, Jamie Foxx, and Jamie's manager, Marcus King, for the first time. We talked about everything: street gangs, prison, politics, religion, families, entertainment, and my life. I could see Jamie studying my mannerisms. When I brought up the subject of my youth mentoring program, Jamie expressed his willingness to participate. Jamie mentioned that he and rapper and producer P. Diddy often exchanged thoughts about helping youth and about the plight of black folks. He talked about how they had kicked around ideas for building a school for inner city youths. Though there were comedic moments, Jamie was mostly observant and serious. The conversation shifted to my thoughts about those in society professing to be Crip godfathers and co-founders. I assured them that my memoirs would put into proper perspective the facts, and mentioned my distress about those that come forth making claims of being originators of this legacy of death. Too many black lives have been lost and will continue to be lost until the cycle is reversed. I am not proud of my role, the roles that Raymond and I played, nor should anyone else be proud of their roles. After 2 hours, there was a break. I went to the restroom while the others purchased more vending machine food. When we re-entered the visiting cage, Vondie asked how I was able to maintain my sanity. I responded, with extreme difficulty. I maintained my sanity through prayers, studying, exercising, drawing, reading, meditating, typing, visits, and using the phone. Jamie and Marcus wanted to know what was it that kept me motivated. Faith in God, I replied. Dum spiro spiro. While I breathe, I hope. Near the end of the visit, I asked Jamie if he was planning to visit me again. Both Jamie and Marcus said that they would be back the following Sunday and assured me that they were committed to the youth projects. During a brief conversation with Vondie, He vowed to represent me in the film with justice. I told him that I would definitely need it. Following the visit, I was escorted back to the hellhole. That night, prior to dozing off, I revisited the moments of the day. Vondi and Marcus were extremely persuasive about Jamie having the talent to play the role. Jamie had proven to be down to earth, personable, and attentive to the slightest detail of my concerns. He amazed us all by mimicking my voice and gestures with uncanny exactness. I thought perhaps this man could work his magic. Jamie and Marcus were men of their word. They showed up the following Sunday to visit me. Jamie talked extensively about the need to portray me as I am today. During the break, Jamie and Marcus had to leave to prepare for the trip to Canada, where the movie set was being constructed. We paused to take more pictures, which Jamie signed, and I did likewise for him and Marcus. After they had left, Barbara, as usual, asked me what I thought. I said, if the script is rewritten well, I believe Jamie can deliver an excellent performance. During August and early September, as the movie was being shot, I talked on the phone with Barbara, Jamie, Marcus, and just about the entire movie crew. Prior to the close of shooting, I composed a tape message thanking the team for the dedication they had shown to the project. Several times I was able to converse with Lynn Whitefield, who was playing Barbara in the movie. Amiable and kind-hearted, Lynn promised to visit me despite her hectic schedule. Barbara had traveled twice to Toronto, staying for a week each time. While there, she and Lynn established a stronger rapport. On her final trip to Toronto, Barbara was accompanied by her mother, Lily, who came to watch the filming and enjoy the sights. Usually when I called, they were on the set, watching the goings-on. Even when Barbara was present during the filming, I knew with all the executive testosterone unchecked, her prudent suggestions might be patronized and ultimately neglected. Neither of us had any legal control. I remained concerned about the producer's creative freedom that permits him and others to embellish and put words in my mouth. Jamie, I learned, refused to do the original movie promo because he considered it to be uncharacteristic of me. Without Jamie's having my back, the promo would have been filmed in a way that misrepresented me. I doubt that any other black male actor would have gone out on a limb for a man who was condemned to death. I have great respect for Jamie Foxx. Returning from Canada, Barbara told me that Lynn and Jamie had been exceptional in their roles. While in prison, I will not be able to see the movie. But I pray the movie has revealed to all who saw it that even the lowest of the low life, despite their circumstances, can transform and redeem themselves. Daily I face life's challenges with relentless faith and resolution. Now I'm a fighter of a different kind. I fight for the poor and wretched among us, of all ethnicities. My redemption has enabled me to appreciate and respect myself, my culture, women, and other people as well as other cultures. Though it may be viewed by many as illogical on my part, I envision freedom outside these forbidding walls. If not tangible freedom, then certainly in spirit. There are felicitous moments, even here on death row. These occur during conference calls to schools, and I am answering letters and emails, and during face-to-face visits with unprivileged youths. I can still hear their inquisitive voices and envision their innocent faces. Indeed, the brightest instances are when the youths, myself included, pledge to avoid gangs, drugs, crime, and other pitfalls in life. I believe them. These same beautiful children are the future stars of the universe. I am not a hero, nor am I a role model. My former image is unworthy of emulation. I only reflect an undying determination under fire. This is why I find comfort in knowing that these children can triumph over adversity and that they will not follow in my footsteps. That is the end of Tookie's book.